This itchy spot means 99% cancer in seniors if ignored. Early warning signs. Older adults must know. My dear friend, let me sit with you a while and speak plainly, heart to heart. You and I both know that as the years roll by, our bodies start whispering to us in ways they never did before. Sometimes it's a stiffness in the morning, a little ache in the back, or a cough that lingers longer than it should. And sometimes it's something so small, so ordinary, that we brush it off without a second thought, like an itchy spot on the skin. How many times in life have we scratched at something and told ourselves, it's nothing, just age, just dryness? We laugh it off, put a little cream on it, and move on. But what if that tiny itch, the one we keep ignoring, is not a small matter at all? What if it's the body waving a red flag, trying desperately to warn us before it's too late? I want to tell you a truth that too many older folks realize when the clock has already run out. That itchy patch of skin, that little spot that doesn't heal, that mark that keeps drawing your attention, it could be cancer. Skin cancer is one of the most common cancers in seniors, and yet it often hides behind something so simple that we don't take it seriously. And here is the frightening part. The longer we ignore it, the faster it grows, the deeper it spreads, until the fight becomes harder than it ever had to be. I don't say this to frighten you, but to awaken you. Because the real tragedy isn't just the disease itself, it's the silence we keep when our body is speaking. Many of us grew up in a time when you didn't run to the doctor for every little thing. We were tough, resilient, raised on the belief that we should endure, not complain. But what was once a sign of strength can become a dangerous weakness in old age. Cancer doesn't care how brave we are. It doesn't care if we don't want to make a fuss. It feeds on neglect, and it thrives in silence. I've seen too many good souls, people full of laughter and wisdom, brush off the warning signs until the day the doctor looks them in the eye and says, "If only you had come sooner." That sentence is heavy. It breaks families. It leaves regrets. And it all could have been avoided if only they had paid attention to that small, itchy spot. Now, before you let fear creep into your heart, let me give you hope. Cancer, when caught early, is often curable. Many seniors who take action at the first sign go on to live many more years, years filled with grandchildren's laughter, morning walks, and simple joys. The difference between life and death, between suffering and healing, often comes down to noticing the little things and respecting the messages our body sends us. So today, I ask you not to turn away from what I'm about to share. Don't brush it off as something for someone else. This is for you, for your life, your dignity, and your precious days ahead. If you've ever looked at a spot on your skin and thought, I should check that out, but didn't, this is your sign. If you've ever told yourself it's just age, let me gently remind you that sometimes age is not the cause, but the cover. Stay with me now, because in the moments ahead, I will share the wisdom you need, the signs, the truths, the steps that can keep you safe, not with fear, but with strength. Because you deserve to live not only longer, but better. And it all begins with paying attention to the smallest things that whisper before they roar. Part 1. The small spot that speaks loudly. Let me tell you something I've learned in my many years. Life rarely shouts at us in the beginning. It whispers. The trouble is, most of us don't listen until it's too late. An itchy spot on the skin may seem like nothing, just dryness, maybe irritation from soap, or a bug bite that lingered too long. But sometimes, that little itch carries a voice far louder than we imagine. I remember a neighbor of mine, Mr. Harris, a kind man, always quick with a joke, always tending his garden with pride. He had a spot on his arm that he used to scratch absent-mindedly while we chatted. Just a dry patch, he'd say, laughing it off. For months, he ignored it. No pain, just a small itch. But when he finally had it checked, the truth was cruel. It was melanoma, an aggressive skin cancer. By the time the doctors found it, the fight had already become harder than it should have been. I still hear his words when he told me, "I thought it was nothing." Those words echo like a warning bell. What makes these itchy spots dangerous is their disguise. They don't always come with pain. They don't always bleed. They don't even always grow quickly. Sometimes they just linger, stubborn, refusing to go away. And that persistence is the body's alarm, ringing softly at first, then louder and louder the longer we ignore it. It's not just about one kind of cancer either. Basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, melanoma, all of these can first appear as something so simple, so ordinary, that seniors dismiss them. A patch of rough skin, a mole that changes shape, a spot that feels irritated for no reason. To the untrained eye, they seem harmless. But to a doctor's eye, they are often the first footprints of a disease that can steal life if given the chance. I know what you might be thinking. At my age, what's the point of worrying over every little thing? But let me ask you, isn't every day you're given worth protecting? Isn't every laugh with your children, every hug from your grandchildren, every sunrise that paints the sky worth the effort of paying attention? You see, it's not about fearing every itch. It's about respecting your life enough to ask, what if this matters? Because sometimes it does. That small itchy spot might be the body saying, look closer. And if you answer that call, you may very well save yourself years of pain. Wisdom isn't just about what we know. It's about what we choose to heed. Part 2. The body's whisper before the storm. Our bodies have always been our most faithful companions. They carried us through childhood's scrapes, young adulthood's labor, and the long roads of parenthood and work. And now, in these later years, the body still speaks. It just does so in whispers. A cough that lingers, a bruise that heals slower, a tiredness that doesn't fade, or an itchy patch of skin that refuses to disappear. The truth is, cancer rarely arrives with a fanfare. It tiptoes in, testing the edges of our awareness. It doesn't want to be caught early, so it hides in the small things we're most likely to ignore. That is why seniors must be the most vigilant. Our skin, after years in the sun, after decades of weather and work, becomes more vulnerable. Spots that a younger person's body might repair on its own can, in our age, turn into something far more dangerous. But skin cancer isn't the only whisper. Sometimes itching or irritation in unusual places can point to cancers deeper in the body. Liver issues, blood disorders, even lung or breast cancer. Now, I don't say this to burden you, but to open your eyes to the truth. The body rarely stays silent when something is wrong. The signals are there, but they're subtle. And if we dismiss them, the storm gathers strength. I've spoken to many elders who told me, I thought I was just tired from age, when in fact their fatigue was a symptom of something greater. Or, I thought that little wound would heal, only to find it kept spreading. These whispers are not accidents. They are mercy. The body is giving us time, giving us a chance to act before the storm breaks. And here is where wisdom shines brighter than fear. You see, noticing doesn't mean panicking. Noticing means respecting the gift of life. When you pay attention to your body's whispers, you give yourself the best chance of staying ahead of what might come. Early detection turns battles into victories. Early action transforms what could be tragedy into testimony. So, my friend, let me leave you with this thought. Your body is on your side. It doesn't betray you. It warns you. An itchy spot that lingers, a mole that changes, a cough that won't go. These are not enemies. They are messengers. And the wise do not silence a messenger. They listen. They act. They live. Part 3. The wisdom of paying attention. My dear friend, life has taught us again and again that ignoring small things often leads to big trouble. Think back. How many times has a tiny leak ruined a roof? How often has a neglected weed overtaken a whole garden? The same is true of our bodies. What begins as a whisper becomes a storm when we close our ears to it. Paying attention is not a burden, it is wisdom. I think of my old friend Margaret, a woman as lively as springtime, even in her 80s. She once told me, "I don't have time to worry about my health. I've got pies to bake and grandchildren to spoil." And she was right about living fully, but wrong about ignoring the little things. She had a mole on her shoulder that changed color over the years. At first, it was just a small dot. Then it grew uneven. Still, she dismissed it. "It's just age spots," she'd laugh. But eventually, it became something her laughter couldn't cover: melanoma. When the doctor broke the news, she said something I'll never forget. "I thought paying attention was the same as being afraid, but now I see. It was love I denied myself." That struck me deeply. Paying attention isn't fear, it's love. Love for the body that has carried us. Love for the family who wants us around. Love for the life we still have left to live. You see, wisdom doesn't mean we never feel fear. Wisdom means we act even when fear whispers, "It's nothing." Wisdom says, "Check it anyway." Wisdom says, "Don't gamble with what you cannot replace." Our youth teaches us boldness, but our age must teach us discernment. And here's another truth: the enemy of wisdom is pride. Too many seniors, especially men, say, "I'm fine. I don't need a doctor." But pride has buried more friends of mine than age ever did. The strongest thing you can do is humble yourself enough to listen to your body, to your doctor, to those who care for you. Pride refuses to notice. Wisdom chooses to see. So, when you notice that itchy spot, that stubborn mole, that mark that will not heal, don't dismiss it. Don't wait for pain to tell you it's serious. By then, it may already be too late. Instead, lean into wisdom. Choose to look closer. Choose to value your life enough to say, "This matters." That, my friend, is the kind of wisdom that adds years to your story. Part 4. How to respond without panic. Now I know what you might be feeling. All this talk about cancer, about itchy spots and body whispers, it can stir anxiety in the heart. But hear me. Awareness is not panic. Awareness is power. There is a way to respond that brings peace instead of fear, courage instead of despair. The first step is simple. If you see a spot that doesn't heal, or one that changes in size, color, or shape, make an appointment. Do not wait months hoping it will vanish. A quick check could save your life. Many times, doctors find that it's nothing serious, and when it is something, catching it early is the difference between a small procedure and a long battle. But responding without panic also means not falling into obsession. Don't stand in front of the mirror every morning with dread in your eyes, examining every inch as though waiting for doom. That is not living. That is fear disguised as vigilance. Instead, take a balanced approach. Learn the warning signs. Be mindful, but then release the rest into peace. Let me share the story of my cousin James. He discovered a patch on his neck that stayed itchy for weeks. He went to the doctor, nervous it was something terrible. It turned out to be basal cell carcinoma, caught early. They removed it, and he's been fine ever since. He told me later, "What saved me wasn't panic. It was simply choosing not to ignore it." That's the key. Respond, but don't panic. Act, but don't drown in worry. And here's something else I want you to remember. Seeking help is not weakness, it's strength. Many older adults feel they don't want to bother anyone. They fear being seen as fragile. But the truth is, those who speak up live longer, healthier lives than those who stay silent. Silence doesn't protect you. Silence only protects the disease. So when that itchy spot lingers, when the body whispers louder than usual, don't hush it, don't push it aside. Respond calmly, wisely, and with courage. You are not just reacting to illness, you are protecting your future, your family's peace, and your own dignity. The goal is not to live in fear of cancer. The goal is to live in partnership with your body, honoring its signals without letting them steal your joy. That is how you respond without panic. That is how you turn awareness into strength. Part 5. Building a life of vigilance and peace. My dear friend, the truth is, we cannot control everything. None of us can. But what we can do is live with eyes open and hearts steady. We can build habits that protect us, routines that honor the gift of life, and choices that help us walk with both vigilance and peace. Vigilance does not mean living in fear. It means being mindful. It means giving your body the respect it deserves after carrying you through so many years. Start with the simple things. When you step out into the sun, wear a hat. Protect your skin because it has served you faithfully for decades. When you bathe, take just a moment to look at your arms, your legs, your back if you can. Notice if something new has appeared or if something old has changed. This is not vanity, this is wisdom, and do not neglect your checkups. I know they are not always pleasant. I know sitting in waiting rooms can test your patience, but each visit is a chance to catch something early, to step into tomorrow with confidence. Think of it as an investment, not just in your health, but in your time with the people you love. Peace, on the other hand, comes from balance. Once you've done your part, once you've taken care to notice, to protect, to seek help when needed, let go of the rest. Do not let the thought of disease steal the joy of today. Worry does not add one day to our lives. It only darkens the days we already have. So while you stay watchful, also stay joyful. Walk outside and feel the breeze on your face. Laugh with your family. Share your stories, your wisdom, your love, because life is not meant to be lived in fear of endings. It is meant to be lived in the fullness of each moment. I have seen people who, even after facing cancer, glow with peace because they caught it early and chose to keep living, not just surviving. Their vigilance gave them years. Their peace gave them quality. Together, those two are the pillars of a strong and joyful old age. So remember, vigilance without peace makes you anxious. Peace without vigilance makes you careless. But vigilance with peace makes you strong, steady, and ready to face whatever comes. Conclusion. And now, my friend, let me leave you with this. Life is precious. Every wrinkle on your face, every ache in your bones, every laugh line etched into your cheeks, they are the proof of battles fought and joys lived. You have already come so far. You owe it to yourself and to those who love you to guard these years with wisdom. That itchy spot, that small whisper from your body, it is not something to fear. It is something to heed. It is your body's way of saying, I want you to stay. I want you to keep living. Please notice me. And when you notice, when you act, you give yourself the gift of more mornings, more meals shared, more hands held. Never mistake paying attention for weakness. It is strength. It is courage. It is love for your own life and for the ones who will miss you if you are gone too soon. Do not wait until it's too late to wish you had listened. Do not let pride or fear keep you from the simple act of checking, of asking, of seeking. I am not telling you these things to burden your heart, but to free it, to remind you that you are not powerless, even in the face of something as frightening as cancer. The power of awareness, the power of wisdom, the power of peace, all of these are in your hands right now. So walk forward with open eyes and steady steps. Pay attention to the little things, honor the whispers of your body, and live not just longer but fuller, richer, and with the peace of knowing you did all you could to treasure this gift of life. Because in the end, it is not fear that keeps us alive, it is love. And love, my friend, begins with listening.